Box cutter blades found on flight from to Portland from Tokyo. NationalTerrorAlert.com, of course, amplifying that story. Portland to Dallas flight diverts to Utah for an unruly man. That's from StatesmanJournal.com. And interestingly enough, from Threat Level, cops pay $4,000 to an Oregon man who flipped them off. Now, an ugly police state run. U.S. spy budget tops $80 billion a year. That's from allgov.com. And again, if you want to bellyache about, the GOP took over because what? These fake progressive puppets were somehow curtailing the military media industrial complex? Biometric devices help New Jersey County track delivery of homeless services. Epic privacy group demands immediate halt of the naked body scanners. We, of course, have prison stocks making money off the prison industry. We do have a clip, but we're running out of time, so we'll skip it. But it's there for you. Again, our growth industries are paranoia and prisons. And as we see a lot of these situations that seem to mimic one event to the other, these massive drills or patsies or stings, compartmentalized intelligence operations, we don't know. We can just follow, or as our critics would say, we're anomaly hunting. Arizona man arrested after guns found in his truck at the National Mall. That's from late last night. FBI says D.C. shooter could be a Marine. Clyde and I noted this story last week because it was breaking on Google News. Lauren Coleman of Copycat Effect called it the geometric shooter. So we asked the question, could it be a Marine? Oh, God. Could the sky be blue? C4 seized in Colorado in a Navy SEAL-connected smuggling case. That's from the Associated Press. And again, false flags fly all around the world unless we expose them. Newspaper bomb threat traced back to the Swedish police. And digging deeper into police state updates, going back to the post Dark Memories of a Nazi Future, activist post getting into martial law, economic meltdown, and executive orders, and the ugly barrel we're staring down, unless we incite a revelation. New piece from CorbettReport.com on the whistleblower Eric Schein on his insider knowledge of Coast Guard implementing martial law. Top 100 items to disappear first during a national emergency. That's from Before It's News, which will remind you carries all the full feeds of the media monarchy kingdom. BeforeIt'sNews.com. Body scanners unveiled at JFK, and of course, Napolitano doesn't go through them herself, doesn't volunteer, won't do it. It's for you. Invisible DNA body spray technology may soon be installed at a business near you. That's from naturalnews.com. DHS conducts nationwide ID authentication test for emergency preparations. That's from terradaily.com. Intelligence spending, as we noted from the more recent headline from AllGov, sources back to this Walter Pincus piece from the Washington Post. Intelligence spending at record $80.1 billion in first disclosure of overall figure. CIA, FBI agents sent to art museums to hone their observation skills. They need to stare at Monet paintings so they can learn how to detect any threatening behavior coming from you if you don't like being treated like a slave at the airport. Rocket launcher recovered in alleged plot to attack the Dayton VA Center. More on that from DaytonDailyNews.com. Fed search Massachusetts home of missile systems expert. I believe he's connected to Raytheon. Man arrested for trying to bomb D.C. subway stops. This was the other pre-election paranoia threataganda that was shoving down our throats. Have a clip for this, but again, we're running too short on time to go into that. Foiled or faked. FBI entrapment tactics fueling homegrown terror. But as we see these events break, whether it's the underwear bomber or the Times Square bomber or this toner terror or this DC bomb plot, It always just somehow seems to coincide with measures that were already quietly announced to be introduced. They were going to roll out the naked body scanners. They just needed an event to make you like it. However, let's take one last stroll down bad memory lane. Covert FBI war against Americans leaves dark memories. That would be the counterintelligence program, better known as COINTELPRO.
Buried in the shadows of America's history books, an era known to its victims as America's dirty war, a war against its own citizens. It's been 54 years since the FBI launched a covert war against political dissidents, the counterintelligence program, more infamously known by its acronym, COINTELPRO.
All the people don't have freedom, all the people don't have justice, and all the people don't have power, so that means none of us do.
The Black Panther Party, the American Indian Movement, anti-war organizations, even civil rights leaders and Hollywood stars. The list of targets was endless. Fueled by the frenzied paranoia of McCarthyism and the growth of radicalism, the objective of COINTELPRO was simple: undermine and destroy popular movements by any means.
Infiltration, destabilization.
The Brown Beret, we were victims of agent provocateurs, police infiltration. They tried to incite our members to go and commit acts of violence.
As the Black nationalist movements gained traction nationwide, it also gained the FBI's attention.
They labeled the Black Panther Party as public enemy number one.
And the promising young leader Fred Hampton a target.
When I leave, you remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary.
Hampton was shot to death in his apartment. He was 21 years old.
If you take Fred Hampton, it was out and out murder, direct murder. If they can't misdirect him, they just kill him. That's the rule. That's the history of the United States government.
American Indians are becoming militant, demanding the government take action to help solve their problems of poverty and discrimination.
At the site of the 1890 Wounded Knee Massacre, the American Indian movement held the government at gunpoint. The FBI moved in immediately. Dennis Banks was an AIM leader.
The suspicion was started to rise after we realized what they were doing to the Black Panthers, and we had a series of meetings, the American Indian movement did, saying, look, we've got to be aware that there's a great possibility that they might be, targeting us for infiltration.
A reign of terror soon gripped the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. Over 60 AIM members were murdered. Others were dragged through the courts. Like Leonard Peltier, imprisoned for murdering 2 FBI agents that some suggest the evidence and witnesses were flawed, corrupted. Today, to many, he's America's foremost political prisoner.
We'll cut it short there, my friends. Again, as we're running short on time, just again a way to sort of whet the appetite for the amount of information laid out for you. That was from Russia Today. Covert FBI war against Americans leaves dark memories. And from dark memories to a possible Nazi future, former Hitler Youth whistleblower and World War II veteran Hilmar von Kamp warning of the road that we're on. And that's always the question. How could they not see it? It's the slow, incremental turn-up of the heat. Our last Police State International note is, again, another fantastic clip we don't have time for. It's called Shobama and the Joint Chiefs, really breaking down the military structure and the Joint Chiefs. And this is from betterbadnews.com. A great site I just discovered. Subscribe to the video feed. It's well done. Think of it like Onion videos, but with a much more hardcore stance. We'll close out with the war whores. With antiwar.com, Justin Raimondo writing and asking the question, whatever happened to the anti-war movement? Were they at that rally for sanity? Obama administration ignored torture warnings and transferred detainees to Iraqi authorities. More on that from allgov.com. Paul Joseph Watson getting into what we've only briefly touched on throughout this episode, the boogeyman of Al-Qaeda. Again, even if you believe the official stories of these events, you know that Al-Qaeda was the database of Mujahideen fighters funded and trained as part of, among other things, Operation Cyclone, connecting Brzezinski and Gates, and all the characters that are still around today, guys who know how to stir up an insurgency. That's why the DoD printed up textbooks training in violence. U.S. to build $8 billion, well, that's in euros, and it's from the Telegraph, a super base on the Pacific island of Guam. And strangely enough, from Danger Room, this could have fit into our occult Holy Hexes. Air Force Academy now welcomes spellcasters. NewsJunkiePost.com getting into runaway military spending does not equal fiscal responsibility. Again, calling the lie of both parties. And as Carol Quigley said in Tragedy and Hope, with the connected Council on Foreign Relation Families, that we're given the idea that we can vote the bums out, and yet it all still moves along apace. I think the return to Jekyll Island illuminates a lot of what we're talking about here. As does this. U.S. military uses more oil per day than the entire nation of Pakistan. So if you want to talk environmental, let's end the war. Lockheed Martin awarded high-power microwave energy weapon contract. More on that from defensetalk.com. And that's a rather disgusting way to close out all our postings on MediaMonarchy.com. We'll take a quick glance and again remind you that with my new slave device, my Wi-Fi pod, we're using twitter.com/MediaMonarchy a hell of a lot more, retweeting and posting so many more things. So huge thanks to Create a Conspiracy, The Historian, even folks like Billy Corgan and Sylvester Stallone making interesting tweets about Manchurian candidates. We also have Hillary meeting Netanyahu next week. Oh, and let's plant this meme out there. Make Ron Paul the Speaker of the House. And from just a few hours ago, Drudge Report reporting bag of uncounted ballots found in Bridgeport. Again, thanks to PortlandRadioAuthority.org for bringing you MediaMonarchy.com now for over 4 years, Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Pacific Time. Thanks for the kick out worldwide, ZeroPointRadio.com. Thanks to the folks over in the chat room right now. Thanks to RevereRadio.net and all of those folks out there who help make all of this possible. Again, your support helps keep alternative media going. I appreciate your donations and your news tips and all those things. That's as simply as I can say thank you. My name's James Evan Pilato. I'm your host and webmaster of the site and show, MediaMonarchy.com, reminding you, as always, my friends, don't hate the media, become the media. Take care.
MediaMonarchy.com is your source for alternative news, politics, conspiracies and cover-ups. Featuring weekly radio shows on the Portland Radio Authority, PRAradio.org, the New World Next Week video series with CorbettReport.com, plus special interview episodes, B-sides, mixtapes and so much more. Send news tips to MediaMonarchy@gmail.com. You can make a donation, or mail media to the Monarchy, at P.O. Box 12165, Portland, Oregon 97212. Thanks to all the internet and community radio